Welcome to HS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about emergency response plan. Okay guys, what is emergency response plan and a lot of things about emergency response plan. So let's get straight to the video. So guys, first of all, here I have written emergency response plan, which is also called ERP. What is that? ERP, emergency response plan. But before understanding what is the meaning of an emergency response plan, we should understand what is the meaning of emergency. Okay, so emergency means what? First of all, emergency. So guys, emergency means sudden disruption or sudden change in the normal existing conditions. What is that? Sudden change in the normal existing condition. Okay, now what is the example of that? Now see, I am teaching you. Okay, I am teaching you the topic ERP. This is a normal condition. If suddenly alarm is raising here, okay, you hear some sound that alarm is raising here, suddenly this particular setup is going to move like that. Okay, so these are the sudden changes in the normal environment. Okay, so that is called an emergency. For example, earthquake, sudden fire, release of a toxic gas. These are some of the typical examples of the emergencies. Okay, so in the simple definition, emergency means sudden changes or sudden disruption in the normal existing condition, which will be resulting in loss of life and loss of property sometimes. Okay, so that is the meaning of emergency. Now, second is response plan. So what they want to say here is to control that emergency, to manage that emergency, to deal with that emergency in an effective manner, we need to have one plan. Okay, so that plan will be called as collectively emergency response plan. It means if any emergency occurs, okay, so how we are going to deal with that emergency, how we are going to manage that effectively. So there should be one pre-planning should be there for that. What is that? Pre-planning. Okay, to deal with that emergency. So that pre-planning will be called as emergency response plan. Okay, so actually it is a very big plan. Okay, so we'll discuss something about that. So that is called emergency response plan. Okay guys, so now basically emergencies can be classified into two main types. Okay, and because of their nature, because of their classification, emergency response plan can also be classified into two main types. Okay, so now what are the two types of emergency and what are the two types of emergency response plan? Now we will see that. So first type of emergency will be called as on-site emergency. What is that? On-site emergency. And second will be called as off-site emergency. So two types of emergency is there. First is on-site emergency and second is off-site emergency. Okay, so to manage on-site emergency, we should have an on-site emergency plan, ERP, on-site ERP. Or to manage an off-site emergency, we should have an off-site ERP. Okay, so these two type of emergency response plan are there. First is on-site ERP and second is off-site ERP. Okay, now we will discuss that on-site ERP and off-site ERP. What is that and how actually they help to deal with that emergencies. Okay, so let's discuss first of all on-site emergency response plan or on-site ERP. Okay guys, let's discuss first of all on-site ERP or on-site emergency response plan. So guys, first of all, ERP means we understood already. I explained you. Now first understand what is the meaning of on-site. On-site means if something happens in your company, something happens in your organization and it is confined to your organization only. For example, this is your company area. Okay, it is divided into 4 sections. Okay, this is your full company. Okay, company number XYZ, consider it anything. Okay, if any fire occurs here at this section, so if this particular fire spreads also, if it is going to these sections, okay, so it will be limited and confined to your organization only. It will only cause damage to your organization until and unless some other companies are also there which is nearby that. Okay, so in this situation, when an emergency occurs and it is limited, it is only damaging your company. Okay, that will be called as on-site emergency. What is that? On-site emergency. And to manage these type of emergencies, we should have an on-site ERP, on-site emergency response plan. So what are the typical examples for the on-site emergency? It may be your toxic gas release. Okay, it may be your fire. So these are some typical examples of that. Yeah, sometimes that particular toxic gas release can also be considered in off-site, because if a gas is releasing, there is a more probability that it will go outside the company and affect others also. Okay, so sometimes we should have a ERP for that also. So that is the meaning of on-site ERP. Okay, and one more thing guys, the on-site ERP and off-site ERP, they are totally different from each other. Don't consider them same. Okay, so this about on-site ERP. I hope you got that. Okay, now we will discuss what is the meaning of offsite ERP. Yes, now let's discuss about offsite ERP. Okay, so offsite in the sense, guys, any emergency which is unconfined. What is that? Unconfined. It means it is not limited to your organization only. It will affect the others also. That will be called as offsite emergency, and the plan which is being prepared, which is being used to control and manage this emergency will be called as offsite ERP. Okay, for example, this is your company again. Okay, company number XYZ. If something happens here, generally these type of emergencies are natural calamities. For example, earthquake. Okay, it is one of the emergency now, and it is affecting everyone of a specific reason. So that will be earthquake. You can consider earthquake is one of the offsite emergency. Okay, and second is your floods. Flood is also a offsite emergency. Okay, so these are some examples of offsite emergency response plan. Now, one important thing is there with regards to offsite emergency plan. Generally, it is being not prepared by the safety officers or by any particular specific organization. Generally, it is being prepared and provided by the government itself. Okay, because these calamities like earthquake and floods are not limited to us, because we cannot control by ourselves them now. Okay, these are the natural calamities. So at that time, government is going to provide us offsite ERP. Okay, so maybe sometimes your involvement will be there in the preparation of offsite ERP, but generally you are not going to prepare that. Okay, you only need to focus on on-site ERP. Okay, so here now we will discuss something more about on-site ERP. It means what are the different type of contents that is available inside a ERP, and what about the teams that is present in a on-site ERP. Okay, so let's move to the again on-site ERP and discuss it more comprehensively, because it is not under us, it is being provided by the government. Okay, so we should need to prepare for the on-site ERP. Okay guys, till now we have discussed about ERP and types of ERP. Okay, let's come to the on-site ERP. So under on-site ERP, there is one important topic that is called ERT, emergency response team. So under that ERP, there are some teams actually, okay, which will be required to manage and control the emergency. So basically these are the typical teams that is present inside a ERT. Okay, so let's discuss the functions of these teams. Okay, because there is a separate selection criteria is there for selecting these teams, but we will discuss that criteria in next video. But let's discuss what are the functions of that team. So first team we have that is called communication team. So basically communication team is used to manage and communicate with all the teams. All the teams will be get communicated with this team. Okay, to manage effectively all the operations. Okay, so this particular team will communicate with rescue team, salvage team, FFT, firefighting team, transport and first aid team, and coordinating team. Okay, so it is one of the most important team, communication. Second is rescue team. Rescue team in the sense whatever the person that got struck inside the emergency place, okay, that will be rescued by the rescue team. Okay, that is the function of that. Third is salvage team. Salvage team in the sense whatever the important materials, whatever the precious, very expensive material is present inside the place which is being gone under the emergency, that will be taken by salvage team. It's been all the important materials will be taken out by salvage team. Okay, next is our firefighting team. Sometimes it may present, sometimes it may not, because every time fire is not an emergency. Okay, so it, as its name is suggesting, firefighting team, so it is only used to extinguish the fire. Okay, next is our transport and first aid team. It means whatever the victims are there, that particular rescue team will take out from the hazardous place. After that, from that place to the particular ambulance or to the hospital, that will be given by the transport team, and first aid team will be giving the first aid to the victims, those who are getting minor injuries on the place itself. Okay, next is coordinating team. So coordinating team is basically, you can tell it's a security team. So whatever the emergency site is there, it will be being given security by the coordinating team. Okay, sometimes one more team is there that is called technical team. Okay, so if any technical issues come, if any technical issues during that emergency come, means that particular technical team can deal with that. Okay, so guys, these are the typical teams that is present inside a ERP, on-site ERP, and there is a probability, that small probability is that the same teams may be present inside the offsite ERP, but sometimes that particular team also changes, like for example food team, okay, registration team, like that teams are there in offsite. So we will discuss that in the next video. So what that about the teams. So now we will discuss something about what are the different things that will be mentioned inside a on-site ERP. Okay, so generally inside a on-site ERP they have mentioned a lot of things, like for example what are the duties of a chief incident commander, chief emergency controller, duties of a safety officer, like that duties will be mentioned. Afterwards they have given like some of the necessary resources. It means what will be the resources that will be required inside an emergency. Okay, and what about the reporting procedures of that emergency? What about the assembly points, location of assembly point, blueprint of the company? Okay, how you need to go outside, location of the firefighting equipments. So this is about the basically the contents that is given inside a ERP. Okay, now if you want a specific video inside regarding contents of a ERP and something, any specific topic like how to select these teams and all, so you can comment over there. I'll make that video, because I'm not including that in the single video because it will be very long. Okay, so this is about the end of this video. If you like this video, press the like button as well as subscribe to this channel, because these type of videos you will be getting in the near future. So meet you in the next video. Till then, take care.